Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan. Thank you for checking out my video here. I'm doing a commentary on the Ocarina of Time, one of my favorite games of all time. Um, I love this opening here. I'm just going to kind of let this opening play out here. So I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit, more or less about what happens, what happened when I played, and talk a little bit about my history and feelings about this game. I'm kind of commentating this after I recorded instead of commentating while I'm playing it. This gives me a little bit more of a laid back. I can kind of focus on my commentary instead of, playing and talking at the same time. I feel like that jumbles me up a little bit. So I'm going to give this a shot and see how this goes. Anyway, this opening. This is my favorite opening of any game ever. Most people, I think, when they play games, they'll start the game and it pretty much just goes to this title screen. Game title, continue, new game, and all that stuff. This game lets you breathe into what kind of feeling it wants you to start at. Very relaxed, it's very fantasy filled, and it has always given me a sense of comfort, especially the song that's playing back. Anyway, I'm starting a new file, as you can see. This is on original hardware, OG N64. I think this is 1.0, with the blood and everything. I'm very original. I name Link. I think I might have done it a few times as a kid as Ryan. I don't know. It's always weird. Link is supposed to be you playing the game, but at the same time, he's never been me. He's always been Link. Despite, he doesn't talk. He doesn't have the most personality per se, but I guess, I don't know. He's always just been Link, in my opinion. So I never changed the name. And then here we got the opening cutscene here. Can't skip it, which makes sense. I mean, granted, at the time when this game came out, 3D gaming was very, in its inventory stage. People would love to watch this stuff. I mean, this is stuff they probably had never seen before. I mean, maybe in movies, but like in a game setting, probably not at this time, especially in 1998. I mean, I'm sure there was 3D games and cutscenes before this and all that. But back then, I'm sure this is epic, so they probably didn't even think to, put a skip button in this. I always love this opening scene, and it's always so, I don't know, it's so interesting because that dream right there foreshadows events that does happen later on in the game. And then it comes right back to Navi, and the great Deku tree is talking to Navi. Real quick though, honestly, I have never thought Navi is annoying. I think people just get annoyed because of the hey kind of thing, but honestly, I don't know. It's just never really bugged me. I mean, I think, I don't know. What do you think about that, Navi? I mean, it's such a meme to, knock on Navi just because how annoying she is, but really, she's very easy to ignore. I mean, she says, hey, but I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on that. I've always liked the fairy idea, and I kind of wish they would bring it back a little bit. I mean, Navi was always kind of your companion in this game, Link's voice, more or less, when there needed to be some sort of dialogue from the protagonist's point of view, when Link doesn't talk because, again, they didn't want him to talk. Man, I bet they were so proud of themselves filming this POV shot in first person, showing off, oh hey, check out the 3D world we're going. Whoa, we're going around, check out that guy lifting that rock, and finding the house. Oh, I think there's the house right over there. And then, I don't know why, but always liked when she went through this hole. And as a kid, I'm a stupid kid, okay? I wanted to, roll through the hole. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I did this, but as a kid, I would take Link to that wall that Navi went through. I always tried to roll through it, or try to see if Link would stick his entire body through that hole. don't ask me why I did that, but that was just always something. And that's a great thing. When I was a kid, I would try everything and anything to see if Link would do something. I feel like I have tried bombing so many holes in the walls or trying to get through, inaccessible places through, obscure methods. Like the Temple Time, for example, later on, I remember when I would try to get through that. And I know you can probably get through it with glitches nowadays, but I would try like bombing my way, cutting my way, obviously stuff that would not, work in the end and such. But I don't know. That's just kind of my, my mind as a kid. And then we got Sarah here. I think I might have talked to her once in all my playthroughs. I just always just like after all that cutscene, I just wanted to get into the game and start playing. And by the way, this playthrough, if you guys like it and, stick on it, I hope you do. I'd like to complete the entire game and not just like finish the end game, like 100% this game. I'm right now collecting rubies, as you can kind of see. I'm also just kind of running around a little bit. I just want to show off the game a little bit. I don't necessarily want to go from place to place to place. This is no speed run. Trust me, there is absolutely no speed running in this game. Fun fact, you're gonna see me like do awkward like movements where I was trying to get in front of the chest and such. I'm playing with the original N64 controller while doing this, and that controller I feel has shrunk. Actually, everybody talks about how big the N64 controller. And maybe I have just big, meaty claw of hands and such, but man, that controller is so small in my hands now. Not to mention, I think my placement of the hands is very, very, I don't know, awkward. And I'm going to skip the spot right here. I'm going to jump in a little bit. I had to pause this. I'm going to cut this out. Okay, we're back. Yeah, like I was saying with the controller. The way I realized I was holding the controller, it was at an angle. Now, with most modern controllers, I, readjust my placement, and when I push up on an analog stick, I go up. But when I do it on the N64, I'm actually going up left, and that's just because of the position I'm holding. I gotta hold it like this because the N64 controller is very uncomfortable for my big hands now. So you're gonna see me move very clumsy in this game, and that's just me trying to get reallocated to the N64 controller. I try to play this game at least once a year. Try to beat it at least at once a year, if not 100% complete it. Now, I don't have everything memorized in this game. I really don't. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not very smart like that. So I do have a guide that will keep track of when I can get items. And one thing I like to do in this kind of game, in these kind of games, especially Ocarina of Time, I like to get everything in order, like as soon as possible. So like before the DQ tree, before I even go in there, I'm going to grab every item and upgrade I can, which in this case, it's the sword, the shield, DQ sticks, and the DQ sticks upgrade that you can actually get. I will grab that. You'll see me grab it later. But right now, I don't know. I just always like doing that. I like to be like, I guess, as fully powered as possible, when playing this game. Whatever that kind of looks like. I always had this kind of imagine like, okay, I got to make Link as powerful as possible. And as powerful as possible means I need to carry 10 extra DQ sticks before I go inside this gigantic tree here. I don't know why. I don't know why I think that way. But that's how I play Ocarina of Time now. And if I miss something that I could have gotten before each dungeon, it just bugs me. And honestly, that's not very fun. And I don't wish that upon anybody. I just, it bugs me that I do it. I have to play the game the same way. And I try to alleviate that a little bit by playing like randomizers sometimes. So it kind of forces me to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to do what I can do. Right now, I'm just getting rubies. I remember this taking so long as a kid. And again, my sense of time is distorted from when I was a kid to now when I'm an adult. Like, getting the 40 rupees, whatever. It takes me a couple minutes. I felt like it took me hours. And I don't know why, because I would always come to this house here and I would just go in and out of this house, grabbing the 6 rupees until I get 40 rupees, and then I would be able to go buy my shield. Does not take long, but I always remember going in and out thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here all day, when in reality it probably only took me like, I don't know, a couple minutes. I didn't even think about getting like rupees around the whole town as a kid. I thought, okay, I'm going to go to that place, and that's how I'm going to get my money. I'm going to rob that guy's house every single time. And so here we get the shield. As a kid, I always like to force my way to try to do things. Like, I don't know why, but like the arrows that are for sale there as a kid, I would try to buy them constantly. Like, I'd be like, all right, give it to me. And like, it would say, no, you can't buy it because you need the bow and the arrow. And I'm like, I don't care, man. Sell me those arrows. I probably spent, again, time distortion in my head, probably hours trying to buy the arrows. But in reality, I probably spent about, I don't know, 5 minutes. Which is still 5 minutes. That's an exorbitantly long amount of time to, buy arrows and such. I will also try to get by this guy without having a sword and shield. Again, I know you can probably do this with glitches, and as a kid, I probably would be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this glitch to get by them. But I was such an impatient kid that I'd be like, I do not want to get my sword and shield. I just want to run by and continue the adventure. When in reality, you really want your sword and shield, because how are you going to defend yourself? I don't know. It's weird like that. Oh, these plants. I don't know what to say about these guys, but, as a kid, I always found them very annoying because, again, stupid kid, I'm not very good at the game as a kid, and I'm probably not the best even to this day. Like I said, I'm no speedrunner. But I always get hurt by those, probably the weakest enemy in the game, because they really don't attack you. The only way you get hurt is by running into them, which you're going to probably see me do, because again, I'm getting comfortable with these controls after, well, let's see, when was the last time I played N64? Maybe a year? Well, I think it was around my wedding, actually. No, I played Pokemon Stadium. Anyway, I'm digressing. What I'm doing right now is I'm also going to go to the Lost Woods, get some extra rupees here. I'm going to Lost Woods for 2 reasons. One, again, I don't know why I do this, but this is always a habit. Like, I love the fact that you can go to the Sacred Grove right at the beginning. Like, if you memorize the pattern, you can go there right now, which you're going to see in a little bit that I screw up a little bit on it. But I taught myself, doing all this exploration taught me that, sorry, I know I'm jumping around, but Goron City, that's another place I always go to first because I want that little bit on that map. It's a completionist thing. It's like, whoa, what is Goron City when I was a kid? This game is so mystical because I always had a hard time progressing, but I wanted to get everywhere with, I tried to get ahead of myself, I guess. But anyway, here I go, try to go through the Lost Woods. I'm trying to remember, but I remember a trick. So in the center, you can kind of see the glowy things, and see I'm kind of reading a little bit. That one's completely black. I know I could walk through that. That was a trick I taught myself as a kid. Eventually, like the last one, because it's a transition screen, all 3 of them have the white dot in the middle of that entryway. So I had to remember which one it is. I couldn't remember which one it was. See, I'm getting confused because I think I'm going to go through that one, but it's incorrect. I think it's that one. See, I'm about to go in it, but I screw up. So I'm going to go right through there. I'm going to go through that one, and that's incorrect. Shoots me right back out here. Okay. So I go back in. Yeah, there's going to be no cuts to this, by the way, folks, unless I can help it. Like I said, this is a complete commentary. This is me just literally rewatching my recording and just commentating, talking about my history of this game. I really want to make this more personal. I don't want this just to be a Let's Play. Let's Plays are very old and old hat, and I recognize that. But this has also given me a chance to talk about me, which sounds very selfish, I admit, but I don't know. I think I always find it interesting when YouTubers will talk about their own personal lives in connection to the game instead of just playing the game, which that can be fun too. But I don't know. I just want to share my story, for those who are interested in that kind of stuff. I loved fighting the wolf as a kid, and I cannot believe I killed him in one hit. I could have sworn that took multiple hits as a kid. Maybe I just hit him or something. I don't even go through the whole thing because I know there really isn't anything else I can do here. I think I killed this guy. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. Okay. And I basically head back. And the one thing I'm going to do before I go into the Deku tree, you're going to see me go collect some more rupees, is I want to upgrade my Deku sticks. Again, I want to be as powered up as possible. And if that means 10 extra DQ sticks, by gosh, I will get 10 extra DQ sticks. So in a second, I'm going to go check and see how much it was, because I really didn't remember how much it is. Spoiler alert, it's 40 rupees. But yeah. Skull Kid. I remember spending hours interacting with him, playing with songs, trying to fight him, all that stuff as a kid, because I always thought the idea of the Lost Wood was so scary as a kid. The idea of you go in this forest, you get lost, eventually turn to a Skull Kid or a Stalfos. I think it's Stalfos. Or a Skull Kid. It might be both. You can correct me in the comments if you want. But as a kid, I would get scared to get lost in the woods here because I thought Link would turn into, one of those creatures. Spoiler, he never does. But I don't know. The whole Lost Woods area, the whole mythology behind it, people getting lost, and later on you're going to see a character that it doesn't round out say it, but it implies that they got lost, and then eventually they're going to turn into a Skulltula too, or whatever they're called. So here I'm going to go steal some money from that guy's house again. He always has $6 I can borrow. Just enter and leave. You can also get rupees by jumping on those platforms, which, I think is a very quick way to get money, especially if you can reload it right. Get that money very quickly, especially if you can remember where all the spots were. Here I try to jump across, but again, my controller's not very good like that, but you'll see me get it later. So I promise you I'm not that much of a scrub here. But yeah, I in and out of this house, break that pot, take my $6. Think it's hours have passed when it's only been like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or not even a minute probably. That shows you how dumb of a kid I was. Growing up, I first discovered Ocarina of Time in first grade, which I think the game just launched. I think it was 98. I think I was in first grade in 98. But the game just launched. And one of my oldest friends, he was my first grade pal. He was actually in fifth grade. There was a first grade, fifth grade, work together where the kids would come down to our class, have a buddy and such. He just kind of became a longtime friend, and he would tell me about the Ocarina of Time. And mind you, my brother had an N64. Yeah, my brother had an N64. I don't think he moved out yet, but he would let me play it whenever I want, but he didn't have Ocarina of Time. I think my cousins had it, but I never borrowed it, I guess. So the only thing I would ever get information about Ocarina of Time was through my friend. And he would hype up the game. He would tell me, oh my gosh, you fight all these monsters, this mystical land, you're this cool guy named Link and all that stuff. And I would build up my imagination what this game is, and I would overhype myself about it. And then eventually, this is months later, until summer of 99. Yeah, summer of 99, because I got this game for my birthday. I remember I got it from my Uncle Bill, and I remember being blown away by this. Again, I would be just screwing around, playing with the game. It would be great. And then eventually, I'm sure I beat the game when I originally had the game. I can't say that. Like I said, I would not get very far in this game. But I have to tell you the story about how I lost this game. Because to this day, it's a mystery. So, I don't know why, but my friend, my next door neighbor friend, came over, and he's like, hey, I want to play Ocarina of Time. And I knew he was going to want to do that. And I thought, for some reason, I was like, I didn't want him to play my Ocarina of Time, because I wanted to play something else. So I pretended I lost it. And what I did was I took the game, and there was this little cubby in my hole, my room, basically. I placed it in there, covered it with something. And I said, oh, sorry, I lost the game. I don't know where it is. Again, I'm a stupid, selfish kid that doesn't know why he's doing what he does, but I get karma for it, trust me. And then we play other games, and then he goes home, and then later that night, I go to retrieve my game. And it's not there. I tore up my house for years. I had no idea where it was. It literally just disappeared. And I know some of you might think, oh, your friend must have stole it. Well, I just don't see him looking through my cubby to find the game to steal it. It bothered me for many years about where that was. Time after time, I would look through that cubby again and just so happened to see if I, saw it or, something like that. Or maybe I took it out without remembering and put it somewhere else, but I never found that game again. It literally disappeared. I don't know if it was a ghost being like, well, this kid's an asshole. I'm going to, take it away and, hide it. I don't know if there's ghosts or not, but that's the best solution I got because nobody went into that little cubby hole but me. So that's my karma. All right, so we're here in the DQ tree. So as you might have guessed, I got lost in this dungeon as a kid. A lot. I remember when I first got the DQ nuts, I equipped them, and then I tried using them on everything to, break that net that's in the middle. Tried using the stick, tried using the nuts, all that stuff. Because why would I want to progress through the dungeon as need be when I want to try to brute force my way through? So, eventually I just kind of kept going. I don't know why, but when Nami interrupts you like that, it always gives me a spook. Oh, you know what? I take that. I know why. I'll tell you about it later when we get to the Forest Temple. I'll tell you exactly why that spooks me. Even today's, I get a little jumpy. Fun fact about the dungeon map there, that is the layout of Dodongo's Cavern. And in Majora's Mask, when they reuse that texture, it's still Dodongo's Cavern. I don't know if you already knew that or not, but I always thought that was really cool that it had that on there. And apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, I'm just kind of going at this, freeballing it a little bit. But I think in Hyrule, it says, Nintendo around it or something like that. I don't know. Go watch Did You Know Gaming. I'm sure they will let you know. Okay. Oh, these DQ scrubs, by the way, I knew right away how to kill them as a kid. But I would try everything else to get them. Of course, failing and such. I would try to sneak up on them. Spoiler alert, you can't sneak up on them. They'll always know where you're at. But here we get the mighty slingshot. Ta-da! Aiming in this game. Fun fact, it is inverted, which bugs the crap out of me as an adult. I think I get back into it pretty quickly, but inverting is not the way for Ryan to play video games, even on an old, N64 like this. I think first time ever being in this room, I think I was just too stupid and then realized that you could shoot that ladder down So I think I always had a thing where I'd get the slingshot and then I would save and quit, and then it would take me back to the beginning of the dungeon. So I'd always skip, trying to figure that part out. Never had a problem with this section as a kid. I always like trying to shoot them down, especially that tall one. If there's one thing I never try to brute force my way, and I learned that more from Death Mountain later on, but I always hated trying to avoid those while climbing. Like that was my stopping gap. Where I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, and then we get up to the top. And then I think we're going to go get the compass, if I'm just exciting. And then you guys get to see me fail not once but twice at jumping down in that pit. Oh, DQ sticks. So let's talk about those and my feelings about the DQ sticks. Even as a kid, I always felt that it was too easy to save your DQ sticks, like because you would use them for fire, lighting torches and such. I always felt that once that goes on fire, they should just burn. Like even if you put them away and such, because that's a burnt stick. But I mean, I'm sure other people probably see that as inconvenient. But I always felt like you never needed more than 10 DQ sticks in this game, unless you used them as a weapon. Which, don't get me wrong, the DQ stick is very powerful. And you'll see later on when I fight the boss that I use the DQ sticks because that's the most powerful way of killing them and such. My first golden Skulltula. Again, I'm trying to 100% this, so I'm going to hit everything. Oh, nice. I need recovery heart. Ugh, I hate those spikes. They're so annoying and they take forever. Okay. All right. So I hated this jump as a kid so much. And even to this day, I was getting a little PTSD because I could not hit that center. Like, it took me multiple tries. Like, watch. I swear I hit that right, but obviously I was too much on the side. Oh, I was so annoyed. Because you have to climb up all the way just to try again. But it's okay. It's okay. Get it eventually. Not the next time, unfortunately. And these guys are back. I have to take those down. Time is money, man. If I'm going to waste people's time, I'm going to waste my own time trying to do my own bull crap. I will force my way through, but I will not deal with these spiders. All right, take two. Which if I remember correctly, it's even worse the second time. I stop to take out the spider. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to use my stick. Break the stick. And screw that up. Yeah, no, I ain't cutting this, folks. You're going to see what this is my pro gamer strats right here. Got my own hearts back up. All right, we're going to try this again. We're going to get through this. I promise you, we are going to get through this. Climb. You know, the music... by the way, you're going to see me do this a few times. So while I was playing this, I got a phone call. Is about I didn't answer the phone call, but what I did was I left it go to my voicemail, and then I checked my visual voicemail because who listens to the voicemails nowadays? So I was trying to read that at the same time of going up, so that's why I went up there twice. I swear I'm not that dumb. I'm just I just don't pay attention. Okay, all right, there we go. Good job. Oh, I was so close to making that. Oh, watch me slip. I hated that. I did that all the time as a kid. I don't know why. I would always try to get up, and I would always slip in the water just like that because I would, pull out my sword, and the physics would just be like, oh, you're too close to the side. Now you've got to climb back up. Good luck. Yeah, got my second golden sculpture. And then the third one's coming up right here. Fun fact, I think, well, besides Ganondorf and the boss here, I think these are the only enemies that do not allow you to Z-target. I guess it just makes it a little more annoying. I remember being annoyed by that I couldn't use Z-target, but I made do. On the boss, you can't use Z-target when they're up in the on the ceiling. You have to hit them in first person. All right. And I forget to light my DQ stick. Go back. See, I may have played this game many times in my life. That don't mean I have everything memorized. Right. So this room was always an oddity to me because this is the only child dungeon besides the bottom of the well that have those eyes that you can shoot with your slingshot to, activate triggers and such. I don't know why they didn't use them more often in the child, but it always seemed like keys and these switches were really more of the adult section kind of thing, and this is kind of an oddity more or less. Because you don't get any keys in the first 3 dungeons. Keys are not a thing until Forest Temple. Oh yes, this. Okay, so little talk about Master Quest. This room pissed me off when I played Master Quest as a kid, because in Master Quest, when you hit that switch, it does lower the water, but not as much. So even if you get on the platform, you'll get hit by that. And I could not figure out how to get under that. And it turns out you had to shield with I think you had to use the sticks. You might be able to just shield normally too, but it would make Link crouch. Someday I will play through Master Quest. But those puzzles drove me nuts as a kid. Because that was the first time I ever had to actually use the internet. Y'all ever installed Quick Play? I don't know if anybody remembers that or has any idea what that is, but that was a video player that you had to install on computers every time you wanted to watch a video on the internet, because everything was so old, I guess. Before YouTube's time. There we go. Okay. So this room here. This is one of those rooms where I got scared as a kid. I hated jump scares as a kid. Up on the ceiling are 3 eggs. I'm going to destroy one of them, but this room scared the crap out of me as a kid, because when I went in there, they would just drop on me silently, and they surprised me and they spooked me, and I might have cried as a kid when they jumped down. So from that point on, whenever I came into this room, when I replayed Ocarina of Time, I made it a mandatory thing where I would have to destroy the eggs before I go in there, because I would get, for lack of a better word, triggered every time I come in this room, because I get scared. Fun fact about this room, this is the only dungeon in the entire game that even if you have the map, it will not display this room that's back there. And you have to come back when you have bombs in the boomerang to get everything that's over there. And I just remember that always bugging the crap out of me, because when you do view the room, once you can go in there, it does not have a black outline. And I don't know why. And that just always bugged me as a kid. Again, one of those weird things. But I always thought that was unique. But it also made me freak out, thinking, oh, is there any other secret rooms that are not on the map in other dungeons as a kid? There isn't. But that made me think there might be. Which, I guess in hindsight, that might have been a cool idea, to have one secret room where the map doesn't even show you and you have to find some puzzle to get in or something like that. I don't know. I'm no game developer, but that's probably what I would have done. I remember the first time coming over here, it's like, how do I get that fire over there? Not even thinking about pushing this block here. So I pushed this block finally. Now I can grab it. But beforehand, I just remember jumping off and having to track all the way around again. That sucked. Burn, burn, there you go. And I don't know about you guys, but the order has always been burnt in my head. It's 2, 3, 1. Very easy thing to remember, but that's always just been, I don't know, in my head. And as a matter of fact, growing up as a kid, whenever I need like a 3-pin or something like that, I always use 2, 3, 1. I don't use it now, so don't try hacking my stuff. But I always did 2, 3, 1 because of Zelda. And I like how this guy just kind of squeals on his queen because he's annoyed because I hit his friends in the correct order. I always thought that was kind of funny. All right, here comes the boss. So spooky. And I like how this room gets very dark after the door seals behind you. Weirdly, I was never scared of this boss, but I was scared because she can lay eggs. Now, I was surprisingly good enough to never let her lay eggs, but that was what I was more afraid of, is those little freaks that would just run around. I don't know why, but that just, this boss is too easy. I really wish there was a harder version of this boss, because I like the idea of this boss, but I hit him twice, and I'm going to hit him one more time with a stick, and I'm going to win. And see, comes the part where you can't Z-target her. You just have to free aim it. Which, not hard. Just something you had to do. And bam. See, even as a kid, I always thought, like, really? That's it? I won? You know, I know this is the first boss, and again, back in the day when you started this game, you know, this is kind of like a new way to play in 3-dimensional. I mean, you had your Super Mario 64, but this is one really was like the first time you had like over the back third person with, you know, the kind of the camera this game operates with. Yeah. Don't forget that heart container, by the way. I did as a kid. I thought the heart container was just a normal heart, so I just left it there. And I'm probably like the only guy in the world that left the DQ tree with 3 hearts instead of 4. I was such an idiot. And I couldn't find, like, I just always, well, no, okay, let me take that back. When I went to the second dungeon at that point, the heart container would obviously appear, and I would grab it, and like, oh, okay. I mean, I know what this is now because there was heart pieces. This is a whole heart container. That's great. And I was like, always telling myself, why didn't I get one in the first dungeon when you did? But, you know, it is what it is. And then here you have the nice long cutscene explaining, you know, the creation of Hyrule. You know, what the heck is this dope dude doing running through the fire? I don't know how he's not catching fire. He's pretty cool in my opinion. Maybe he should be the protect. I don't know. But apparently he's an evil man. Why? Because he has red hair? I don't know about that. Anyway, I remember as a kid, I would not want to read this stuff. I could read. I mean, I could read a little bit. Again, I was going to second grade, so I could read, you know, basic, you know, first grade level reading stuff. But man, I did not want to read any of this stuff, so I had no idea what was going on. I think I would pick up a lot of like keywords. Generally speaking, if you've never played Ocarina of Time and you don't read any of the dialogue, I think you could eventually figure out where you're going. I mean, at this point, you would be leaving the forest because they would let you by, and then you would automatically go to Hyrule Castle and such, or maybe you might explore like the ranch and such, but eventually I think you'd be able to find it. But yeah, this is gonna be like part one. I'm gonna keep commentating until like it's over, more or less. But I hope you guys like this. It's a little different. I know this is very Let's Play ish, but the post commentary, I hope it offers a little, something a little different, and it lets me kind of again express myself a little bit. I want to talk about my past, also what's going on in the game, of course, but more of a connection to my past. It's I'll admit this video is very selfish. I don't know why, but sometimes if I'm walking around on my own or I'm deep in thought of myself, I'll be thinking back to all these what I felt about what kind of feelings I was. I'm very nostalgic about that. So I just want to share this. It lets me get this out there, and it lets me, share my story. I mean, this is YouTube after all. You being me, not you, but me, not they. Get it? I don't know. But the point is, I'm going to make a part 2 of this. I don't think I'm going to call it part 2 because I feel like if you do like part 1, part 2, part 3, people are going to see this long line of games and such. And, I'm going to try to do like a dungeon episode. So, I'll be playing right off at the end of this, and then probably towards the end of the Dongo's Cavern. We'll be talking more about what I thought about these areas, what I felt about like these puzzles, all that kind of stuff. So if you find this stuff interesting, subscribe. I mean, I want to make more of these videos. I don't have any ambitious plans of being big on this. It's not about that. It's more about just kind of sharing my story for those who care about it. Obviously this kind of commentary is not really for everybody. And, I don't know who you are listening to this. Maybe you might find this interesting, listen to some stranger talk about his life and the Legend of Zelda. But I like it when YouTubers do that. It shows a little more human side of them. There's always the character, the personification of who these people act to be on YouTube, which in truth, it's probably part of them too, but I like it when they share themselves a little bit. Now, I don't need to know everything about them and their life and all that stuff, but I like to learn more about people. So I hope that if you have that same kind of interest I do, I hope my story as I play through this game will be interesting to you. Fun fact, I cried first time I played this and he died. I got scared. It's like, what is he doing? Why is his skin molding like that? And he died. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he's dead. The tree is dead. And I remember yelling to my mom. I was like, Mom, the tree is dead. She's like, what tree are you talking about? I'm like, the Deku tree. It's like, what is that? So, I don't know. Like I said, I was a strange kid. I was over imaginative. I wouldn't say attention seeking, but man, I would be very curious about stuff. Anyway, see you later.